2. All right.
All right. Yo, everybody. Welcome to the Red Road East. I am your host, Fierce Truth Seeker. Yeah. And man, I know it has been a very long time. And I apologize for the wait. I apologize for the delay and all of that stuff. But there has been a lot of issues going on that I could not ignore. And my heart is very grieved because I have a lot of family members who recently had been going through health crises. And I just wanted to say that when I do the sacred sun days, I do it with the hopes that I have a lot more viewers. And, you know, my ministry is a healing ministry. And I talk a lot about holistic living. Okay. However, when I do the sacred sun days, I only get a handful of people. And it's sad. It's very sad. And I don't know. A lot of times people contact me when they are in a health crisis. And see, when you're dealing with holistic living and holistic approaches to health and wellness, it's a lifestyle. It's not something like in conventional medicine where, you just pop a pill, okay, and, the symptoms are gone. Because realistically, when you do that, you're not curing yourself of any dis-ease. All you're doing is suppressing it. Okay, it's still there. It's just being suppressed. Okay. So holistic living, a holistic lifestyle is about preventative approaches to health and wellness. Okay. You don't wait until you're in a health crisis to decide all of a sudden that you want to change your way of eating and your way of thinking, and your way of taking care of your physical body. It doesn't work that way. Okay, it really doesn't. And that's what goes on most of the time. So people will call me when they're in a health crisis and, expect a miracle to happen. Okay. Or people go, and, buy up a bunch of herbs and things of that nature and, you know, expecting to heal themselves or whatever. It doesn't work that way. You cannot, I say all the time, you can't buy health in a bottle. There's no such thing. I don't care what it is. There is no such thing as buying health in a bottle. And whoever told you that, okay, just know that they have sold you some snake oil, and you have been gullible enough to buy the snake oil. Okay, they painted a bridge that's moldy and broken down and rickety. They painted the bridge. Okay, they patched up a few holes and sold it to you, and you thought you had a good deal. Okay, but there is no such thing as health in a bottle. Okay, there are certain things that you can buy to acquire a little more time, okay, and get your body in a state where it is temporarily okay, and it buys you time to be able to change your lifestyle, okay, but it's not a cure. All right, and we'll get more, we'll get deeper into that on the sacred sun days, okay, but for right now, I'm not going to go too deep into that, because that's not the topic of discussion. But I just wanted to explain why I had been gone, okay, and explain, that, I've been busy trying to help out family members who, had been seriously, we're talking about life threatening dis-ease, okay, and some family members are still in that state right now, okay. So I had to travel, and traveling, you know um, way down south, you know and I also got a chance to meet some real cool people, some of my subscribers and things of that nature, while I was gone, you know. But yeah, and I want to send a shout out to Santee. I met the good brother Santee while I was down south, you know. Peace to Santee, one of my subscribers that I ran into while I was down there. Okay. And anyway, but without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest and co-host, Firebird Grey Wolf, who's going to talk about the Indigenous Peoples Day Parade, which will be the first annual Indigenous Peoples Parade in New York. That's going to be happening this month. And then after she finishes that, I'm going to continue the discussion on the Mound Builders, okay, or the American Mounds rather, because we're talking more. I know Firebird wanted me to talk about the Mound Builders, but I'm going to talk more about the American Mounds itself, and at a later time, I'll go deeper into the Mound Builders, and yeah, then we'll do it like that. So also, for I want to send a shout out to those who have sent donations. It's just a few people, but I appreciate what I get, from that handful of people. Okay, and and I left in the chat. If you look in the chat, I left where people can leave donations via Cash App and PayPal. That's in the chat. That information is there. Okay, so I'm going to now bring in Firebird, Grey Wolf, Oshio, Firebird. Wait. I don't. Okay, there you go.
Ocio.
How you
Hi,
doing?
everyone. Asta. Tehigu. I'm fine. How's everyone? Good to see you. Good to be back on the show. I can't wait to hear your lecture on the mounds. I'm most excited because I requested that um, because of a situation in the town that I'm near. A destroyed mound, just a plaque there. We had years ago been the mound builders uh, ourselves. Shows years ago. I mean, ranging 30 years, and this got my interest back up. Some of those ancestors in that particular mound in my area, they were said to be 9 to 12 feet tall. And those were some of the women. And it stirred up my interest again. You did a lecture I posted on my show, Native Voices Turtle Island TV. I'm going to post this show on my show, and then you'll carry on again with another show on my show about the Mound Builders. And I'm very thankful that you gave me the opportunity to be on here and say a little bit about the upcoming parade in about 2 weeks. So, if you have any questions or things you would like to discuss with me about um, the update, you can shoot.
Okay, so yeah, so I know that initially a there had been an email contact for people who were interested in registering and things of that nature. Initially, there was a $50 fee and this, that, and the other. So I guess you can give people an update on all of that stuff.
This year, we're not charging anyone to register. Actually, the fee is what we were using as fundraising. That's basically what it was. But we opened it up this year for donations. We're planning for grants, seed money, and whatever we can do in the future. But as you know, any event, um, money's involved because it takes money to do many things, as far as even flyers, printing machines, helping some people get to the event. You know, this is not the only parade that charges some type of entrance or whatever, because a parade is like any event, it takes money. So, what I'm saying in a nutshell, I hope no one's offended that any monies was asked, but every event takes some type of monies. We're getting donations right now, and we're asking for donations because we want it to be, and it will be annual. I mean, you have to pay for a sound permit.
Hmm.
You have to pay for gas. You have to make for your regalia or clothing. It could be for several things.
You have to pay people who want to. like say for instance, if you want to bring certain entertainment, you
Certain
know,
entertainment you have to pay. Not everyone,
right?
but certain entertainment you may have to pay. So that's just a part of life and giving an event, and they had a Christmas parade, High Holy parade, and they were charging for registrations and things because everything takes money, and that's just nothing. When you give an event, is 100% free.
Exactly.
That's a misnomer.
Yeah.
Even if it's an event in the park, you know, vendors may have to pay to register, or the performers. That's just how it is.
If you want a DJ, you know, some
Or
DJs will,
DJ,
charge.
so we're hoping that people understand that. That's just how it is in the world. Unless you're a multi-millionaire, I mean, we're just starting out with this, and we've come so far, and we thank everyone that has traveled distance just to participate and pay out of their money, their own pockets, because they see the vision of the parade. Native people in New York, they have parades that they march in, but it's not an indigenous parade per se. You know, natives are marching in the Thanksgiving Day parade as an
Yeah.
opportunity to be seen, to
Mm-hmm.
say we are still here. And the
Mm-hmm.
people that we have are doing just that, saying we are still here by participating in this first annual event, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want people to understand that everything takes money, no matter what, but we're having our own. And I don't want to concentrate on the money factor. This is just something that was discussed uh, with one of Fierce's followers. I like to concentrate on the beauty of the event, that is historical. We have Indigenous Day uh, every year. That people pay money just for things like that, but don't
Mm-hmm.
take away the beauty of the event.
Exactly.
We're getting opportunities to have our own, and we're doing everything possible. So basically, that area is what I wanted to cover.
Yeah, we're not making any money off of this.
Not making any money.
This is a
And if
labor. It's a
money
labor of
is
love.
made in the future, it will go towards like entertainment or floats, helping people with their clothing. We plan to do scholarships for the people and grants. A lot of things take, you know, uh, priority over a registration fee. Okay. Another reason why there's a registration fee, because we monitor who's in the parade as well. You know, a good parade is not a free for all. You know,
Mm-hmm.
someone just said, "Oh, I'll come in and jump," but no, it's not. It's not like that. It's not supposed to be like that. You know, we also have to deal with the police department, the city of New York, the mayor's office, and it's a lot involved. It's a lot involved. Hotel rooms,
Mm-hmm.
several
Exactly.
several things. So I'm hoping that you understand that this is not the only parade that may have asked for a registration fee, or whatever. But I waived that this year because that's how much we want this to happen. It's been 20 years in the making, and we're having it in 2 weeks, and we're very excited. So many people are excited. I hope your viewers are excited and want to participate. And I was told there will be a registration table. I don't know if that's still going to go on because we're all on a committee doing different things. But we would like to have you, even if you're on the sideline cheering yourself on. Not me, but hi, hi there. But cheering yourself on, and please understand, even a park event, there's funds going around. And a public park is a free thing for the public. But the people running the program, there's money being exchanged for talent, for food, fundraising, everything. So this is no different. This is no different from any other event. I mean, the Chinese parade, the Puerto Rican Day parade, the Italian parade, all it happens to all. So I
Mhm.
just want you to understand the main thing, concentrate on that this is for us. We don't have to share someone else's parade just to be seen. We have our own beauty, our own talent, and our own pride. So
Exactly.
the main thing is your pride for yourself, for us, the first people of Turtle Island, the very first people. Everyone else has a parade but us in New York
Mhm.
City. So that's what it's about. Pride and joy and celebration, and let it grow every year with people joining on. I'd love to see you. If you're on the sideline waving, wave. You'll see me. You can't miss this tattoo. You know, you can't miss it. And I love you all. And I'd like to tell you just where the parade route is. Okay.
Oh, give them the date, Firebird.
The date is October 15th, 2022. Okay. From 12 to 3 p.m. Okay. If you're in the parade or trying to be, you have to be there between 8 and I would say 10:30 comfortably, because we have to get everybody ready to march. And we have speakers. Chief Perry from the Ramapo Nation, he will be giving the four directions. I will be giving the invocation, seven dimensions, seven directions, to thank the Creator for all of you beautiful people. So, and we have speakers, we have a grand marshal, we have different people coming from different towns. And I just hope that you want to come and participate on some level. If you're just going, yay, we did it, we finally got our own. It's annual, it's not a one time thing, or something someone threw together that didn't mean us any good.
And check this out. The thing too, and I'm talking to the viewers. You got to remember, this is history in the making. Okay, this is the very first annual Indigenous Peoples Day parade in New York, the very first. So if you want to be a part of history, you should really make it your business to come out.
Yeah, come out and support, give some prayers uh, for the success that we did it, and we're there together as a family, extended family from different nations. Uh, Non-natives allies are welcome as well to come down and cheer us out on. We'll be flying some banners and different things. I don't want to say too much. Let it be a surprise.
Hmm.
Let it be a blessing. you know. But I just want you to know I'll be doing the invocation, bringing the Creator uh, to bless you all and to thank you. The seven dimensions or the seven directions. I will be doing that because you have supported me. It was my vision, and people joined on. And here we are after 20 years of ups and downs with it because I'm talking on a spiritual level right now. But, I believe in evil forces or negative energies, and all that's been cleared. The right people are together, and it's a blessing. So, Gagaui means I love you. Wado, thank you. Peace. Anigido, Adoi, peace and blessings to all of you. I can't wait to see you all. I'm trying to pronounce Itawamba Mingo. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
You
so thank you
know,
for tuning in. Itawama, Itawa.
Mingo.
Wait, I gotta look at it on the other computer because
Mingo is
it's too
also an
small.
indigenous name. We have Mingo. Uh, we
Okay, I
have
can see it on this computer. I can
Mingo
see it
Senecas.
on the little on the I got because this right here in front of me is the laptop, so the font is like looking like
Yeah,
that. Here I can
yeah.
see
The
it very
Mingo
well.
Senecas happen
Itawamba
to,
Mingo.
yeah, the Mingos. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the Mingos. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the
Itawamba
Mingos.
Mingo. Yeah, that's a nice
That's
name.
awesome.
Uh, um, can you tell us the meaning of your name, Itawamba Mingo? It's a beautiful name. If you're still there, but yeah. Um,
Okay. The parade will be Madison Square Park. That's where we gather. Corner of West 26th Street between 5th, let's see, between 5th and Madison Avenue. And we'll be going from 26th Street to 17th Street, I believe 5th Avenue. Okay. And I'm excited. I'm excited.
Me too, because I know you've been talking about this forever.
Not only talking about it, but trying to get it
Trying to get
going.
it going. Exactly. I
But
remember.
had to clear that negative energy, and negative energy doesn't always go away in a week. It can linger. New negative energy, like good energy, can come again later and later and later. you
True,
know,
true. It has vapors.
they have vapors. Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So we
Hmm.
we have the right energies that have the vision that, wow, we have our own, and that means the universe is blessing us. It will be known around the world, not just at a powwow, but around the world, because we'll be in the midst of Lenape Hogan, Lenape land on the streets of New York. I am Cherokee, Chalagi, Lenape, or Lenape, and that is my Lenape land. Manhattan, all the way up to New Jersey, Pennsylvania. We spanned out, but it's all of our land. And you're all of my people, and I'm all of you. And thank you so very much, Fierce, for having me on here to express about the parade, the vision, what it meant.
Oh wow.
It was a spiritual calling. And the creator spoke to me years ago. I don't know why. Just said, do this. Someone else could have done it, but it was like a calling for me.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have Aztec dancers. We're gonna have people from Puerto Rico, the Tainos, and intertribal. You know, but from Mexico to here, we have them in the parade, and it's a blessing. And been cheered on by Principal Chief Perry of the Ramapo Nation. He's excited. His council, they had faith, and he offered to come in and do the four direction prayer. So I'm just getting blessings all around. You
Mm-hmm.
know, blessings all around. You may see me speak on another show. Fierce, I'll let you tell them the name of that particular show, Turtle Gang.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so you're gonna be on Turtle Gang.
I was on there.
Oh, you talking about previously?
Yes.
Yeah, 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 yes, yes. She was on Turtle Gang show previously, talking about the parade. So you can
Yeah,
go over
Turtle
there
Gang
and check it out.
NYC. It's another
Mm,
channel, and one of the other clans mothers is also talking about it. I'm a clans mother, but I'm doing this on my own. I'm doing this separate from my tribe. This is independent, but they support me 100%. I got word that they're very excited about that. This history is being made.
hmm. Indeed. Yeah. So I thank you, Firebird, for sharing.
Oh,
And
I
I'm
do.
excited,
I said,
I'm excited. I can't wait. I've been
yeah,
waiting for this for
right,
decades,
right. I
waiting for
can't
this
wait
for
either. I
decades.
can't wait because not only the parade, but I'll get to hug you. I
Yeah,
have a
definitely.
beautiful gift for you. I'll
Oh
be able
man.
to see old friends and cry just that the unity is coming together on the streets of New York. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
we're not mysterious hidden in a powwow, which is still a blessing. But
Hmm.
you understand.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's gonna be good, man. It's gonna no, no, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Not good. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, so I'll be calling the creator for the blessing, and
Hmm.
uh, at a certain point, he'll be doing the four directions. I'll be doing the seven directions or seven dimensions. And, we should have a lot of good time, a little fun, have fun with each other, love each other, you know.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna continue on, and let's see what time it is. We have let's see how many minutes in are we. We're at 33, 34 minutes now. So
Went fast.
yeah, so I'll go on. I'll go on for about 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm going to talk
Okay.
about the mounds. And before I talk about that, I also want to announce that Firebird and myself will be teaching a course on this history of our people here in the Americas. And depending, we're looking to do the course. Well, we were looking to start the course around November after the parade. However, I know that most of you out there are going to be breaking the bank, spending up all of your rent money all of your food stamp money, and all of your life savings on Misgivings Day or Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday
Yeah, and
and all of
enjoy
that,
yourself when you do it.
and enjoy yourself when you do it, and can't move after eating all that turkey and pork and all that other stuff that you all eat. So I know and not only that, but after that, you all are gonna be busting the shopping mall doors down to shop for Christmas and New Year's and all of that stuff. So I know realistically, I mean, if we get enough people interested, we'll try to start like around the end of November. But knowing our people, I know that you all are gonna be doing the so-called Thanksgiving thing, the Black Friday thing, the Christmas and New Year's thing. Okay, so more than likely the course will have to be done next year, like around February. Realistically, you know.
Enjoy yourself, folks. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, enjoy. I won't be joining you, but enjoy.
To each his own,
To
right?
each his own, you know. But anyway, so if you're interested, then hit us up. I'll leave in the chat the email. I'm gonna leave it now. That's the email right there. Uh, Hit me up and let me know if you're interested in the course. Okay, so I'm going to get into the presentation now.
Okay, will you
And
mute my camera?
sure,
Okay. Bye, everyone. Love you.
and she'll come back on towards the end. Okay. All right. So, let's see here. One second. Just adjust the camera. All righty. So, talking about the American Mound Builders, and I did the first show, I think about a month ago. No, should I say the first part about a month ago? And for those who are interested in that information, I'm not going to repeat that information. I'll just do a brief recap. I first did a lecture on this on Firebird's show, Native Voices, Turtle Island TV. Okay. Then I did the same lecture on this show, The Red Road East. Okay. And let me share the screen. 1 second. Share screen. Share screen. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Let me see if I see it on the other computer. I want to see how it looks to you all. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. All right. So in the last discussion, we talked about the American Mounds. Realistically, because Firebird wanted me to talk about the American Mounds. She said American Mounds at first, then she said American Mound Builders. I really didn't want to get into the mound builders and more so talk about the mounds themselves, because if I were to talk about the mound builders, then I open up Pandora's box. And once Pandora's box is open, it's very hard to close it because a lot of things start to come out that is going to shake a lot of people's foundations up. So, and particularly being on Fiber's platform, I didn't want to open that box up. Okay. Right now we're on my platform. My platform is a little bit different. So my audience is a little more adept with some aspects of this information. So I can share a little bit more. Okay. I can't share everything. However, if you take the course, then we really get deep. Okay. We really get deep in the course. I very seldom share everything that I know. I'm just letting y'all know that, when you hear me doing my lectures and stuff like that, I'm only giving a small portion of the things that I have knowledge of, because if I were to say too much, then I would lose most of you. Okay. So even now with this discussion on the mound builders, I'm not giving everything. I'm only giving a portion. However, if you take the course, then I'll speak freely and share more. All right. So to recap where we left off at, we were talking about the Hopewell, the Adena and Hopewell mound builders. Okay. And Firebird asked a good question, which was, and this was on her show where we left off at, which was the how they say you had the Adena and the Hopewell, and Firebird was saying, well, our people had built mounds here, even before that time. Okay. And the time got cut short. I couldn't continue the discussion because we were over time with the presentation. However, I'll pick up from that point where we left off at, discussing that. So, yeah, and there was a valid question. And basically, the Paleo Americans built the first mounds, okay, in the Americas. And then later on, you had others, you had the effigy mounds, being built like around 1400 years ago, and then we were talking about the Adena and Hopewell. And realistically, what I was saying is that the Hopewell is basically a continuation of the Adena. And the Adena mound builders, they were, as time progressed, the same population became known as the Hopewell. You had the Hopewell, and realistically, the Hopewell, the same population that made up the Adena, was the same population as the Hopewell. The only difference is their technology got more advanced, of course, over time. You see what I'm saying? So, and they say that the mounds may have even, like certain mounds, like say for instance, like they talk about the Serpent Mound, and other mounds like that. even the dates that are ascribed to certain mounds, like the Serpent Mound, may have even been around longer than those dates ascribed to them. So, in other words, those mounds, the people who those mounds are ascribed to, they may have been just utilizing mounds that were already there before them, okay, because there has been archaeological evidence to show that in that area there have been finds that were that verified that it was occupied at an even earlier time, okay. So, and that's when I do the course, we'll get even deeper into it than that, okay. um so anyway, that's picking up from that discussion and getting you caught up to speed. um and so let me see, let me I don't want to go over the same slides because you could look at those slides when you look at the first lecture. You can go on my channel and you can check out the first lecture. So let me see. Let's see here. Just give me 1 second. I'm looking for a point. Bear with me. Yeah. So a lot of these mounds there were many more mounds around before the colonizers came. They destroyed thousands of mounds, okay? And you already know that these mounds contained valuable information that could have let us know more about these ancient cultures, okay? And you had many of them being mistaken for just piles of dirt, and the people just started digging and throwing stuff around and, you know, uh, um, digging into bones and stuff like that and crushing stuff up and crushing up artifacts and not knowing basically what it was, you know. And these companies, these developers and things of that nature have no regard. And one in particular, okay, where a lot of you shop, Walmart. Okay, Walmart has been instrumental in desecrating many indigenous sites. Did you know that? Did you know that? Let me pull something up here. Oh, before I get into that, let me I wanted to talk about the Michigan Mounds, then we'll talk about that. So the Michigan Mounds in Yeah, I wanted to share this information with you before we get into that. In 1956, a 1956 news article with an interview from archaeologist Claire Reynolds tells of the Native American experience with the mound builders in Michigan. One Ottawa Native American describes his fear of the mounds. He feared that the ghosts of Yam Kadesh will still roam the mounds and wouldn't take the reporter there. Yam Kadesh was the name of the Ottawa Indians assigned to the mound builders there, meaning the prairie people. The Michigan mound builders are known for their building of two different kinds of mounds. The first being a conical shaped mound that was used for for burials. The other was pyramid shaped with a flat top. This kind was believed to be used as a lookout or as a communication post. One of the most well-known mound in Michigan is the Great Mound on the Rouge. It is said to be 200 feet long, 300 feet wide, and 20 feet tall. Unfortunately, it was destroyed for industrial development and no longer exists today. Okay? No longer exists today. And there's many mounds like that. There's many mounds like that, unfortunately. Okay? Many mounds. So now Walmart, okay, and here says Walmart's history of destroying sacred sites. Okay. And says a reconstruction ceremony was held this past weekend at a damaged Indian mound in Oxford, Alabama. As we reported last month, the 1,500-year-old sacred and archaeologically significant site was partially demolished during a taxpayer funded economic development project, with the excavated dirt to be used as fill for construction of a Sam's Club, a retail warehouse. Okay. And let me finish this. Give me 1 second. Let me know if y'all can still see this. Is it still shared? No, it's not still sharing. Let me share. I have to reshare. Give me 1 second. Share screen. Share screen. Um. Oh, here. Share. Oh wait. No, that's not it. Stop sharing. Give me 1 second. Technical issue. Give me 1 second. Okay, I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. That should come up on the screen now. So it says a reconstruction ceremony was held this past weekend at a damaged Indian mound in Oxford, Alabama. As we reported last month, the 1,500-year-old year old sacred and archaeologically significant site was partially demolished during a taxpayer-funded economic development project, with the excavated dirt to be used as fill for construction of a Sam's Club at a retail warehouse store owned by Walmart. Following protests, the city appears to be backing away from the destruction, with a local landowner reporting that his property would be the source for the fill instead. But it turns out the incident in Oxford is not the first time Arkansas-based Walmart has been involved in the controversial destruction of sacred and or archaeologically significant Native American sites. Reader Martin Mackley brought to our attention a similar incident in Fenton, Montana. A is that Montana? Um, it's Fenton, Montana, no, Missouri, I think. Missouri, I think. Fenton, a picturesque historic town along the Merrimack River in the eastern part of the state, inhabited for over 1,000 years. The area was home to the Fenton Mounds, two earthen burial structures dated between 600 and 1400 AD. But in 2001, the Fenton Mounds were leveled for a Walmart supercenter. Give me 1 second. Let me check something here. Let me see something. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it's Missouri. It is Missouri. Okay, Fenton, Missouri. Yeah. So Mackley wrote on the website he created to document what happened. A As a 15-year resident of Old Town Fenton, I watched in tears as the former Fenton Indian burial mounds mesa, as I call it, was excavated. Over and above the crimes against human history perpetuated by these predatory developers, we in my city have to look at the back of a plain block building set on top of a pile of rocks. St. Louis Riverfront Times newspaper reported how workers with SCI, the engineering firm hired to determine whether there were remains at the site, grew short on time, so began digging less carefully and soon struck human bone. Recalled Deborah Magruder, a member of the crew, who later filed a complaint with the state. The story I heard was that the guy working in that area thought it was a tree root and used some root clippers and snapped it in half. Then, when they figured out it was a femur, they just covered it and left it, half sticking out. And a looter came and ripped it out of the mound. Femur was indeed protruding from within a stone box chamber. On February 17th, a survey crew lifted the tarp and found that someone had dug horizontally into the vault and stolen the bone. Doing a little digging of our own, facing south, discovered that what happened in Oxford and Fenton were not isolated instances. There have been numerous cases involving destruction of Native American burial mounds and other culturally significant sites by Walmart, an Indian burial site in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee was demolished by a Walmart supercenter on Charlotte Pike in the late 1990s. The company behind the project was JDN Realty of Atlanta, a developer for Walmart stores since purchased by developers Diversified Realty Corp of Ohio. By the time excavations were completed in August 1998, the remains of 154 people, including children, had been taken from their graves, according to the Alliance for Native American Rights. In the mid 1990s, Walmart developer JDN was involved in the relocation of numerous Native American graves while building a store in Canton, Georgia. Canton, Georgia. In Canton, Georgia, Walmart Watch reports. Okay, another location. The store set up a permanent display of unearthed Indian artifacts next to its layaway counter. When an Indian burial ground was discovered during construction of a Walmart supercenter in the Northern California community of Anderson, the company proceeded, California, the company proceeded with the project anyway, opening the store in 2007. In June of this year, to make up for the site's desecration, the store erected a bronze statue of a native Wintu feather dancer that was vandalized before the dedication ceremony. In 2004, Walmart opened a store in Mexico within view of the 2,000-year-old pyramids of Teotihuacan, despite months of protests by local residents, as well as prominent Mexican artists and intellectuals. In an interview with the Associated Press, novelist and poet Homero Aragis compared the store's opening to nailing globalization stake in the heart of old Mexico. About 5 years ago, while building a Sam's Club and Walmart supercenter in Hawaii, workers unearthed 64 Hawaiian graves, reports Walmart. For at least 3 years afterwards, the bones remained locked in a trailer, awaiting reburial. What if they built a Walmart at Arlington? How would people feel? Hawaiian activist William Ayala told the AP at the time. Those individuals were buried there with the thought that they would be undisturbed for the rest of eternity. There were other cases where Walmart would have disturbed sacred sites, but was dissuaded by protests. In 2001, Walmart relocated a planned store in Morgantown, West Virginia, because it would have destroyed a Native American burial site, according to the Interfaith Center on Corporate Responsibility. The decision came after company shareholders and indigenous leaders wrote letters to Walmart and West Virginia state leaders protesting the chosen location. 5 years before that, Walmart scrapped a plan to build a store in the Hudson Valley community of Leeds Flat, New York, after Mohegan remains were found, according to a website about the Stockbridge Munsee tribe of Mohegan Indians. For more on the case, read the account by Mohegan historian and educator Deborah Winchell. In the early 1990s, Walmart canceled plans to bulldoze a large Indian mound in Paso Robles, California, after leaders of the Chumash and Salinan Indian nations protested. Walmart Watch reports. The company complained the mound was blocking motorists' view of the store. And it's not only Walmart who's destroying native cultural sites. Others who've been involved in damaging or threatening sacred lands. An Indian burial site along the Cumberland River in Nashville, Tennessee was disturbed in the late 1990s by construction of a stadium for the Tennessee Titans, the National Football League team that was formerly the Houston Oilers. Though the project drew protests from local Indian rights activists, then Mayor, now Governor Phil Bredesen defended it on the grounds that part of the site had already been disturbed by previous construction. When Whole Foods broke ground for its first store in the state of Hawaii, it discovered the remains of more than 20 indigenous people. According to the Honolulu Star Bulletin, according to the, oh, that's where the source is, according to the Honolulu Star Bulletin. But the Texas based company continued with the construction anyway, storing the bones in a trailer to rebury at the site later. WMAC Radio reports that Georgia Governor Sonny Perdue is using federal economic stimulus funds to build a 4-lane highway near the Ocmulgee National Monument, a state of a site of great significance of the Muskogee Creek people, where human occupation has been recorded for 12,000 years. The road would divide the monument from surrounding traditional cultural property, leading the nonprofit National Parks Conservation Association to place the monument among America's most endangered national parks. Why would the U.S. allow so much of its cultural heritage to be destroyed by development? After all, there's no shortage of federal laws designed to protect sacred and archaeologically significant sites. They include the they include the American Indian Religious Freedom Act of 1978, the 1990 Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, President Clinton's executive order on Indian sacred sites, the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966, the Archaeological Resources Protection Act of 1979, and the National Environment Policy Act of 1969. But a fact sheet on sacred sites prepared by the Morning Star Institute for the Coalition to Protect Native American Sacred Places during 2002 hearings by the U.S. Senate Committee on Indian Affairs points out there are no existing legal protections for certain sacred places and none that provide a specific cause of action to defend sacred places against desecration or destruction. Unfortunately, until those protections are strengthened, America's ancient sacred places will continue to fall under the bulldozer. Okay, so you know that is what's going on. You know, let me see who's in the house before we continue. Okay, I see we have cousin. Hey, what's up, cuz? Awanasa. Oshio. Yeah, who else is in the house? George Richard III. Peace and honor to the Red Road East from Huntsville, Alabama. Oh yeah, peace, George. How's it going? Thank you for tuning in. Yeah. So, continuing on, let's see here. Let me X this out and go back to the PowerPoint. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share the screen again for the PowerPoint. 1 second. Okay, and share. All right. Okay. Yeah. So now, shamanism and dead straight Indian lines. Okay. So there's two aspects to the legacy of the mound builders left to the modern alignment researcher, and that is a tradition of ritual hallucinogenics, okay, and landscapes in which ceremonial straight lines or old straight tracks, as they call them, are still visible. So, in other words, if you look to the Americas, you're going to find the keys to unlocking a lot of the mysteries of this particular phenomenon. Okay, so the straight Indian lines were laid out by the shamans and is part of the shamanic landscape where the human central nervous system leaves a physical mark on the land. Okay, and when you take certain hallucinogenics, now we're talking about like your ayahuasca, your peyote, and things of that nature. It invokes an out of body experience. Okay. And the shamans used these hallucinogenics to access the spirit realm and bring back information to the people, okay, or to the particular patient that they were dealing with for healing and things of that nature, okay. And so when you look at these lines and different monuments and things of that nature, when you see these things from an aerial view, it takes on a whole different dimension, because a lot of these, when you look at these mounds, and again, like I said before, it's not just the mounds, okay. We can't talk about the mounds without talking about the other structures, such as, your pyramids, your kivas, your medicine wheels, and things of that nature, your pyramids. You have to look at all of those things and other related things that were laid out. And when you see these things from an aerial view, that's when it really becomes impressive, okay? Because it lets you know that also our people had to have the knowledge of flight, okay? And I believe that in the last lecture, I think I showed you the evidence of the evidence that actually the actual evidence that our people had knowledge of aerodynamics, okay, and I showed you the model planes, okay, that they found in the Americas and also in Egypt or Kem, okay. Um, okay, now we have someone who I have to teach a lesson to. Give me 1 second here. All right, so let me stop sharing for a second because, again, every once in a while, you get someone who wants to poke their chest out and think they know something, and when they really don't know anything. So I have to make an example of them. Okay, so now we have somebody in here named Love Life, and says that the Moors, because Moors by facts are from Africa, let's be real, Moors used to rule some of Europe. I don't know if he meant to be sarcastic or if he just doesn't know. Okay, so I'm going to think on the positive side and I'll give him a pass. Maybe it's somebody new to the channel. Okay. Honest question. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay. So to, yeah, because I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So, yeah. So actually, I think Love Life, I think you're new to the channel. So if you look at my previous videos and lectures, uh, I talked about the fact that Moors are not from Africa. Okay. That's um, misinformation. Okay. You did have Moors in Africa. Okay. But when you study deep enough, you're going to find out that it's not the fact. Okay. You had Moors all over the world, not just in Africa. Okay. And being that you're new to the channel, you probably are not aware of some of the information. But contrary to popular belief, America is not the new world as they have erroneously put forth in the textbook. America is actually the old world. Okay. And you're going to find that a lot of stuff that you thought came from over in the East actually started over here. Okay. And that is including Moors. Okay. That's including Moors. Okay. But that is the big secret. Okay. They don't tell you that. You have to pay a lot of money, or you may have to be part of somebody's fraternity, in order to learn that big secret. Okay. But that is the fact. Okay. And and that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to get too deep into the mound builders yet. And I'm going to deal with the mound structures. Okay. Because if I get into the mound builders, then I'm going to lose all of you. Okay. That's an advanced class. Okay. But I will give you a peek into that knowledge. So when you not only look at the mounds, but when you look in the mounds, then you're going to see that, in fact, the Moors were right here. As a matter of fact, the term Moor itself originated here, didn't come from over there. Okay, that's another class. That's another subject for another time. Okay, and even the Fez and the Moorish titles and stuff like that, you find those same titles right inside the mounds. Okay, you'll also find Moors in the mounds. I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I am just dropping a little knowledge to let y'all see that there's levels to this ish. I told y'all years ago there's levels to this information. Okay, I've been doing this for over 30 years. So when you've been doing it for that long, okay, you know a thing or two and you studied a lot more. Okay, there was no Dane Calloway when I started doing this stuff. When Firebird and myself started doing this stuff. Okay, we had another channel before the Red Road East television show. Okay, we had a YouTube channel. Okay, and none of these channels that are around today predate our channel. That's the ones that are around today, at least. You know, so I know a little thing or two about the Moors, the mounds, and things of that nature. So as I proceed and go a little further, it'll become even more clear. And again, I'm not even giving you 1/10 of the information yet. It gets much deeper. Okay, so I thank you for your input, Love Life, but do hold on and do continue watching because it gets deeper. Okay, and as the levels, you know, start to get more and more uncovered. Okay, and again, I teach a class on the mounds and mound builders. Okay, so I didn't just start doing this yesterday. And like I said in the opening, for those who are interested in taking the class on the mound builders, that class is available. But I know that most of you, like I said before, there's a lot of you who are just joining. Like I said before, we wanted to do the course in we wanted to do the course after the parade, which is August 15th. However, we know, I know, and Firebird knows that you guys are going to be eating turkey on Thanksgiving. Okay. We don't do that, but we know that you guys are going to do that and you're going to spend up all of your money um, on turkey and you're going to um, be broke and spend up your life savings and everything buying turkey and stuff. So, and you're also going to participate in Black Friday, and you're also going to spend up all of your money on Christmas gifts, okay? And you're going to want to sit in Santa's lap, okay? So, and you're going to celebrate New Year's. So we know that realistically, we can't offer the course until more than likely after January, like February, because by then you'll have recovered financially, okay, by that time. All right. But if you're interested, I left my email in the chat. Okay, if you're interested in the course. If we get enough people interested, then we may just do it before the new year, the so-called new year. Okay. But I know that we're not gonna be able to do that. Okay. Anyway, and also I left in the chat, I left my I left the information where you can leave a donation via PayPal or via Cash App. Okay. Oh, we have another question. Let me see. Big question: Are you are Moors that thinks American Indian are Moors? Okay, good question. That's a good question. That's a valid question. Okay, and I'm gonna answer that question not only with articulating it, but I'm going to show you with the documentation. Okay, that the answer to that question is yes. Okay, is yes. That is the answer to that question. Okay, and as we proceed, I will provide the documentation. Well, some of the documentation because I got piles and 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 piles of documentation to prove as much. All right. So anyway, um, let's continue sharing. Share the screen. Okay. Share the screen. Okay. So, all right. So we're talking about the shamanic experience and the ley lines, what they call ley lines or the energy lines. Okay. Now we're looking here. These are the Nazca lines in Peru. Okay. And these lines here, you have to see them from the sky. So that means we had to have knowledge of flight. Okay. And I showed you again. See, when I make statements, I don't just talk it, I provide the receipts. Okay. So when you look at, oh, yeah, as I stated earlier, for those who just tuned in, okay, I showed you the model planes that they found here in the Americas and also in um, in Egypt. Okay, and as you see here, here is this one here up at the top here. You see is in the form of a spider, and the thing is that this particular um, this particular image here is drawn, or it's not drawn, is was created in such detail that you can also tell what species, they could tell what species of spider it is. That's just how advanced this technology was. Okay. All right. And so moving on. Yeah. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. Airplane evidence found in ancient Egyptian and South American artifacts. Okay. And you know, they these are actual, you know, these are actual pieces, artifacts that they found. Okay. It's not some toy or something. It's not fake or anything like that. Okay. These are valid. Okay. So again, so now, so always the debate comes up about Moors and this, that, and the other. Again, I didn't want to get too deep into that because, you know, we're talking about the mound structures and not so much the mound builders. But I will touch on that since there are people who are interested in that. Okay. So what I will say, and I did have to introduce some information about the mound builders because Firebird did ask me to speak on the mound builders. I was just going to keep it at the mounds, but since she opened up the discussion, I have to tell the truth, because that's why I was given the name Fierce Truth Seeker, because I have to tell the truth. So, and in the last discussion, Firebird had mentioned the mounds that were found in Pennsylvania, and also talked about how the fact that they found giants there. And this is true. They found, not just there, they found giants in many of the mounds. Okay. And that's why I had to open this box. I didn't want to open up Pandora's box, but since the box has already started to open, so we talked about giants. And I also mentioned the fact that there were pygmy skulls, okay, and pygmy bones, okay, found all over, okay, and also the fact that there were Moors found in the mounds. Okay, we're going to get deeper into that later. So, since we're talking about Moors, in the last discussion, or maybe it was on your show, Firebird, because I don't, I have different PowerPoints dealing with this topic. So I think it was in the first PowerPoint where I talked about chapter 47 of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's Holy Quran, Circle 7, where it talked about what he called the dominions of a Mexim. And realistically, those dominions of a Mexim is the dominions of the Atlantean Empire, okay? Because there was an empire here, okay? And that particular empire spanned across the globe. It wasn't just here, it expanded um, across the mainland, going to the Atlantis Islands, and Atlantis going to, because you had the island of Atlantis and you had the mainland of Atlantis, which was here, okay? You had Mu in the Pacific, okay? So that same empire you found also in Europe, you also found in Africa, okay? And this is why you find the same type of works, earthworks, over there in those places, over in the East, over in Europe, that you find here in the Americas. Okay. Perfect example. Here we go, right here. Silbury Hill. Okay. It's the largest man made mound in Europe. Okay. 2660 BCE. And this particular mound is 130 feet. Okay. And again, so we're talking about here, we're talking about the Moors or Moors. Okay. You're talking about the Atlantean civilization. Okay. Um, when you take the course, we get deeper into this discussion, and I show you more artifacts. Okay. And I show you more proofs of these things. Okay. This is in Ireland. Okay. This is Ireland Mound. And it's reported to be older than the pyramids of Giza. Okay. And even realistically, that's up for debate, because the dates ascribed to the pyramids of Giza is off. Okay. it's off by thousands of years. So they're really older than the dates ascribed. Okay. So this is in Ireland. Okay. Same science. All right. So you're talking about a mound building civilization. And for those who have read Augustus Leplongion's works, particularly um, 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 Maya Atlantis, Queen Mu and the Egyptian Sphinx, okay, by Augustus Leplongion, you find in that book where he tells you that here in the Americas, we took our science and planted civilizations across the waters to the different continents. Okay. And he was ridiculed by his contemporaries, but they ridiculed him, yes. But if he was so off by what he was saying, then why is it that none of his contemporaries would debate him in a public forum? Okay. And he called out his contemporaries. He said that, okay, you all who are armchair archaeologists, armchair anthropologists, you're criticizing my works, but I'm in the field. Okay. And you guys are armchair anthropologists. Okay. Let's debate in a public forum. And none of them would do that. Okay. So just by that alone lets you know that he was onto something, and they didn't want to deal with that in a public forum because they would probably be embarrassed. Okay. So again, we're talking about a worldwide civilization. Okay. And for those who have a problem with talking about Atlantis, Lemuria, and things of that nature, when you take the course, I show you the evidence that those civilizations actually existed. Okay. And realistically, anyone who debates this information is not familiar with indigenous folklore, because there's folklore that validates this information. The problem is most of you don't know a lot of the folklore. Okay. So that's why a lot of people would have a problem with me saying these things, because they don't know the folklore. And a lot of them don't know the customs and things of that nature either, or practice the culture as well. Okay. So here we have, these were 3 pyramids discovered in Italy. Okay. 3 pyramids discovered in Italy. Okay. And when you look at these particular pyramids, these pyramids were laid out astronomically. Okay. Meaning that they reflected what's in the heavens, they reflected constellations. Okay. And here you see exactly how these are laid out. Okay. Now you're talking about a high level of science and mathematics, okay, and engineering, okay, that these people had. All right. So it says, discovered May 2nd, 2003, from the air over northern Italy, 40 kilometers from Milan, were 3 pyramids with the same alignment as Giza and Orion. They are the first pyramids ever discovered in Italy, and the dimensions are quite impressive. The highest pyramid is 500 feet tall. They are stone buildings, as recent excavations have proved. However, they are now completely covered by ground and vegetation so that they look like mounds. The inclination degree of all three pyramids is 4243, and there is a perfect alignment with the Orion constellation. Nothing was found nearby which may help date the structures, and in the area there was not any civilization able to build similar structures at the time. The people who lived there were mainly gatherers and hunters. Gatherers and hunters. Okay, now here's another artifact here. Give me 1 second. Just give me a second here. Give me 1 second. I'm just making this a little bigger so y'all can see it a little bigger. Let's see. Okay, I was trying to make the image a little bigger so that y'all can see it, but not able to. So anyway, this is the Adena tablet that was found in West Virginia. Okay, and says here the Orion constellation is the most prominent one in the winter sky. It is most often depicted holding 8 stars. It was interpreted by the ancients as outlining a hunter, and the three bright blue stars arranged in a row near the center of the constellation was his belt, and the string of stars descending from the belt was interpreted as his sword. One of the stars in his sword is actually a nebula, the Orion Nebula, consisting of the glowing gaseous remnants of an exploded star. This nebula is visible to the naked eye as a fuzzy patch and was considered by the Mississippian peoples as the portal through which departed souls passed through the Milky Way, or the path of souls. Okay, so when you start studying these mounds, you're going to hear about the path of souls. Okay, so that is how the burial mounds, you talk about the souls of the deceased going into the Milky Way. Okay. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Now, this is in Brazil. This is the Brazilian Stonehenge. Okay. So, again, this is going back to the whole Moor question. Okay. When you read in the book by David McRitchie, okay, David McRitchie tells you in that particular book, and this is David McRitchie, this is not a Moorish author, Okay, this is a Scottish author, and he tells you in that particular book, he tells you that the Druids, the Celts, and these different ancient peoples in Europe were Moors. Okay, so now, and we know that these are the people who are responsible for Stonehenge and those different megalithic sites over there. Check. So if that be the case, and you have the same science over here, okay, you have more than ones. You have a lot of Stonehenges over here in the Americas. It's not the only Stonehenge site. Okay, you got a Stonehenge, you got a Woodhenge. Okay, different structures, similar structures that you find here and across the water. Okay, so again, we're talking about the empire. We're talking about the ancient people who were a mound building, pyramid building civilization. Okay, it gets deeper. Don't go anywhere. Make this smaller. Okay, so it says Brazilian archaeologists have found an ancient stone structure in a remote corner of the Amazon that may cast new light on the region's past. The site, thought to be an observatory or place of worship, predates European colonialization and is said to suggest a sophisticated knowledge of astronomy. Its appearance is being compared to the English site of Stonehenge. It was traditionally thought that before European colonization, the Amazon had no advanced societies. The archaeologists made the discovery in the state of Amapa in the far north of Brazil. A total of 127 large blocks of stone were found driven into the ground on top of a hill. Well preserved and each weighing several tons, the stones were arranged upright and eventually spaced. And evenly spaced. It is not yet known when the structure was built, but fragments of the indigenous pottery found at the site are thought to be 2,000 years old. What impressed researchers was the sophistication of the construction. The stones appear to have been laid out to help pinpoint the winter solstice when the sun is at its lowest in the sky. It is thought the ancient people of the Amazon used the stars and phases of the moon to determine crop cycles. Although the discovery at Amapa is being compared to Stonehenge, the ancient stone circle in southern England, the English site, is considerably older. It is thought to have been erected sometime between 3000 and 1600 BC. Okay? Now, South African pyramids and stone circles of I'm sorry, I'm tongue tied. Mpumalanga. Okay, so here are some pyramids that they found in Africa. Okay, and as you can see, you have the same phenomenon. These things that you have to see from an aerial view. Okay, see the pyramids here. Same science. Okay. And here you have another layout. Okay. That's astronomically laid out. Okay. Same science. Okay. This is that same Moorish science. Adam's calendar in South Africa, 300,000 years old. 300,000 years old. Okay, this is in South Africa. Okay. Again, we get more deeper into these things when you take the course. Okay. Yik Pabongo Mound in Ghana. Okay. Same science. Okay. Again, more science. Atlantean and Lemurian science. Lemurian science. Okay. I hope I'm not losing anybody at this point. And I'm just glossing over these things. You're interested in the course, we go deeper. Okay, here's the Igbo pyramids of West Africa. Okay, again, same science. Okay, when the cataclysm happened in Atlantis, people started dispersing in search of other lands. Okay, some went east, some went west, but there were also people still here on the mainland because this was the mainland of Atlantis. Okay, this was the mainland of Atlantis. Okay, but you see here you got step pyramids, just like in Mexico, you got step pyramids. Okay, this is in West Africa. I hear a lot of people saying that there were no pyramids in West Africa. It's not true. Here we go, right here. Okay, and here sorry about that. I'm just adjusting this image here. This is the tomb of the tomb of King Askia of the Songhai Empire. Okay, and the Songhai, that was an empire in Mali. Okay, we're talking about in the 15th century. Okay, it says here, King Azana of Axum found Meroe in a phase of decline. Meroe declined. Nabatea and Axum came to power. No coincidence. Where a country has a declining economy, you find people leaving. If they left west for Africa, it is hard to tell, but it's not unlikely they went there. Okay, and they're comparing this right here to Cushitic and Egyptian architecture. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to talk about gender. Okay. So you have your different forms talking about the land now. So in history, you find that religious leaders stood on holy mountains and hills. Okay. So holy mountains and hills, such as Mount Olympus and this, as the seat of the gods, are sacred to the male principle. Okay. Mounds, which are artificial or modifications of natural features, are connected to aspects of nature or fertility and are feminine and embody the female principle. Okay. And it becomes more clear when we look at the next slide here. Okay. So a mound is the womb. Okay. And it's symbolic of birth into the afterlife. Okay. And it's like during the second dynasty in Kemet, you find evidence of the pyramidal mound being a symbol of resurrection. Okay. And if you look here at the images here, you have a mound here, and you see the female anatomy in this one right here, where the vagina is, it looks like a mound. Okay. So you see the first image here to your extreme left, you see the mound, and you see the similarities with the female vagina on the second image. And then the third image, this is another image of the female anatomy, and you see the similarity with the mound here on the extreme right. Okay, you see the similarity there. Okay, so it's a science. It's a deep science. Okay, and when you take the course, we get even deeper. Okay, like I said, there's levels to this. Okay, there's levels to it. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna give y'all everything. You want everything, take the course. Take the course. Let me skip down a little bit. Hold on, let me stop sharing for a second. I don't want to give y'all everything. All right. Let me see. Firebird, are you there? Yeah, I unmuted your mic. You want to chime in?
Hi, everyone. I'm enjoying the presentation just like the rest of you. And my thoughts are alien connection to the mounds. Have
Okay, yeah,
any
that's
thoughts on that?
yeah. Well, you know that is something that is weird to
Mm-mm.
foreigners to this land, but to our people, that's nothing. There's nothing weird about that. That's something that's part of our cosmology. you know, so there's lots of legends about our people being visited by people from the stars, you know, and in the cosmologies, you find the astral mythology. Okay, so that's not anything foreign to us, you know. So yeah, but to people who are foreign to this land, that's something weird and pseudo and things of that nature. Again, we get deeper into these things when you take the course. See, I'm purposefully not fully answering that question, Firebird, because we go deeper into that in the course, where we decode the folklore and things of that nature. We decode these things and we break it down to the basic science and mathematics, and symbology. Okay. So if you're interested, then, you can take the course and we break it down on more levels, give you some things, but not everything. We're trying to spark your interest so that you'll be interested in taking the course. And this
And
stuff is
after the course, you'll be awarded a certificate of merit of study.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, indeed, indeed. Okay. And let me see here. Let's see
Mm-mm.
what I can share. I took the PowerPoint off so that I can pick and choose certain slides. I don't want to give them everything. Well, even this slide presentation is not everything. But let's see. All right. So, oh, hold on. Give me 1 second. Continue to talk, Firebird. I got to mute my mic so that I could talk to my wife for a second. And
Yeah, I'm curious of how many would like to take the course and get a certificate of study and on a beautiful printed certification with a raised seal. And it'd be wonderful to have you study with us. You'll get so much from the mound builders up to present day history, science, and much more, spirituality. So I know holidays are coming up, and Fierce, he's joking with you. I mean, everyone has a right to celebrate how they're used to celebrating. He doesn't celebrate. I don't celebrate, but everyone has a right to. And if you can't join now to take the classes, hopefully after the holidays, which is around the corner. And I hope to see many of you at the parade, cheering yourselves on as we make history in the city of Manhattan. There's so many parades there, people showing their pride from different countries, Ireland, Russia, India. So we're going to have our own, and hopefully it will grow every year because it will be annual. So that's my hopes to seeing you. And I love you guys. Awanasa, hi, I saw you were on here and a few others. So, only 2 weeks away. What's he smiling at? Still working on the parade hard. And I said, Chief Perry of the Ramapo Nation will be doing the four directions at the beginning. We'll have speakers, and it should be a wonderful day. All of us fellowshipping together, making history. And the Big Dirty Apple, one of the biggest cities in America, if not still the biggest, millions of people. So we're looking forward to this, looking forward to growing and having our own special day. Every day is Indian Day, as they call it, but a special day of celebration. So many celebrations are started from pain and suffering, you know, like the Indigenous Day, um, that will be going on in October. And that was to stop Christopher Columbus statue from being shown all over the world and schools and everything. Indigenous Peoples Day, federal holiday. And this vision of mine happened way before Indigenous Peoples Day, way before MMIW was formed. And I'm glad that they're doing all of these things. And some of them will be in the parade as well. We're fellowshipping together, cheering each other on. So, anyone in the New York area, please come and join in. Glad to see you. Can't wait to see you, Fierce.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Likewise. Likewise. You went mute, Firebird. Can't hear you.
Huh?
Oh, we couldn't hear you. We
Oh,
can hear you
yeah, yeah. Can you hear me now?
now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I told Fierce I would be doing the invocation, bringing blessings on to the people, um, from the seven dimensions, the seven directions of the Cherokee people. And I'm just thankful for all of you. And can't wait to see you. Whoever can come, come. It'll be
Indeed.
wonderful.
Yeah.
12 to 3, if you're going to try to register to be in it, you should be there between 8 and 11 a.m. or maybe 10:30. So I love you guys. Kakaui. Love you. Nikido, peace and blessing. Doi.
Oh, we're not
Stayu.
finished. We're not finished yet.
Well, I am. I have to step off here and let
Oh,
you carry on. I have a house full of kids.
oh. So you're off for the night, or you're off until we close out?
I have to step off the camera.
For the night, or on until we sign off?
I'm signing off now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I was
but
just about to take it.
I'll be on watching you. I just can't participate right now because
Okay.
the kids are taking up a lot of my time. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to step off soon too, because my wife is definitely getting hungry and I gotta cook.
Yeah,
But
I saw you talking to her. Beep beep beep. Beep, 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 beep,
yeah, she wanted soup, so I'm gonna make her some soup. And, the
okay.
weather has changed, but I'm gonna continue on for about like
Okay.
another 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be here, but I'm saying hasta soy. Uh, good night and donada gahani to everyone. Until we meet again. I love you all, and 2 weeks away. So take care, everyone. Peace, love, and blessings. But I'll
All
be
right.
on. I'll be listening. I just, they want to jump in the camera. They want to say hi to everybody. You know,
Wow.
the baby's talking gibberish. He knows your voice,
Mm.
so he got all excited.
Wow.
Yeah, that's your little buddy.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you to hurry up so he can have a playmate.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Okay.
So
Peace,
I'm
love,
gonna.
blessings, everyone. If you want any information else about the parade, we can get that to you. Um, Nothing to join the parade, no fee. And if there was a question about a fee before, we have to raise money some types of ways for next year, and the things inside of the parade, even the free events you go to in the park, behind the scene, the people running the event has to pay out for the event to be successful for the next year. And I know you enjoy those events. And I hope you enjoy the fellowship of the parade. So, peace, love, and blessings. Donada. Fierce to be back on in a few seconds. Okay. Bye bye. Creator bless.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna go another 15 minutes. I thought it would be more people on, but again, it gets deeper. You know, we haven't gone down the heavier levels yet. Okay. I don't know. Let me see
Mm-mm,
who's still with us.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
Okay. Um. All right. So anyway, let us continue. I'm gonna share the screen. Got 4 people with us. All right. I'm not sure which of the 4 are here that's in the chat, but I'm glad you stuck around. We're about to get deep now. Okay. Again, there's a lot more levels. So, all right, here we go. And so now what I want to look at is some of these effigies, some more of these effigies, right? So again, talking about some real deep science that went into the building of these mounds. Okay. And I want to look at right now some of these effigies. Right now, we're going to look at the Panther Mound. All right. And now, what they found with the mounds, you have to read these mounds. The thing is that with these mounds, it was many purposes for the mounds. Okay. And the holy men and priests and shamans and things of that nature, they were in tune with the land heavily. Okay. And there's a lot of heavy engineering that went into and mathematics that went into the creating of these mounds. Okay. And one of the functions was to be able to be aware of your surroundings. Okay. So you hear a lot about the Bermuda Triangle, right? And you hear about planes disappearing and things of that nature. Okay. So this is not just fairy tale or some type of pseudo science or pseudo knowledge. Okay. There's actual documentation of planes and boats traveling in the Bermuda Triangle and traveling through the Bermuda Triangle and disappearing. Okay. They go through a time warp. Okay. And these were, so now you're talking about the whole grid science. Okay. You're talking about the world grid and things of that nature. And we get deeper into that science when you take the course. Okay. But on a basic level, I'll give you all a little bit of flavor and then, we're going to sign out. But if these pilots knew the science of the land, okay, they wouldn't have a lot of the troubles that they were having in these areas. Can anyone in the chat tell me why? What could they have done to avoid some of the peril and demise that they encountered in the Bermuda Triangle? Can anyone tell me in the chat? Love Life, APJR, anyone in the chat? Can anyone in the chat break this down or give any information? No? All right. So, knowing the land, knowing the landscape, okay, when you look at these mounds, if you look at, for instance, the Panther Mound, okay, that's one mound, okay, and what they found is that these mounds in certain areas communicated where there was danger and where not to travel. For instance, the mound builders had knowledge of the Bermuda Triangle and they used the mounds to communicate how to navigate. Okay, so the Panther Mound in the Florida Everglades, it communicates how you should navigate. Okay, and when you look at that mound, it walks very carefully as it approaches 36 degrees. Okay, and if you look at the image right here of the mound, it shows these angles, okay, of the mound. Okay, then you also have another mound, okay, that's second in size to the Panther Mound, and this particular mound is 5,000 feet, okay, and it is what's called a device effigy, okay, and this is in Portsmouth, Kentucky, okay, and it looks kind of like a rifle, okay, and it points southwest at an azimuth of 216 degrees, just opposite of the Panther's 36-degree heading. Okay. And if you look at the image right here of that particular mound, this device effigy, you see what we're talking about here. Okay. Then you have the Rock Eagle Mound of Georgia. Okay. And it's midway between the device mound and the Panther Mound. Okay. And it's one of only a handful of indigenous mounds rendered in stone. Okay. And they say that that mound is actually more favorable of a turkey than an eagle. And its azimuth is 36 degrees. Okay. You see it right here. So, what is trying to be communicated here with regards to the Bermuda Triangle? Okay. Then you got the Shark Mound in East Bimini Island. Okay. This one too, swimming at 216 degrees. Okay. If you look right here, okay, you see the Shark Mound here. You see right here the 216 degrees. Okay. It implies that if you enter this area, you'll be swallowed up. Okay. So if people who were in charge of flight, who encountered their demise, in these areas, if they knew this particular science, they could have avoided um, their demise. Okay. So in 1949, the Star aerial bomber had disappeared south of the triangle while it was heading to Jamaica. And guess what? At 216 degrees. Okay. So I'm thinking about stopping there because y'all went to sleep. I don't see anybody else in the chat. Let's see this. Wait a minute. How many are watching? 6 people watching. Did y'all fall asleep? I don't want to bore y'all. Am I boring anybody? Or is it good? Should I continue or should I close this out? There's a whole lot more. I'm really just getting started, to be totally honest with you. I'm really just getting started. APJR says no, I'm learning. Okay, all right. Somebody's still there. Awanasa, okay. Thumbs up and fire. Okay. All right, so I'll continue on then. All right, let's go on. Like I said, it gets deeper. It doesn't get boring as we go along. It gets deeper and deeper. Okay. This is not even half. Okay. So let me just stop sharing for a second. Like I say, I don't want to give everything. I want to save something. But this is not everything. This is, it's a little bit, of the stuff that you learn in the course. But, let me see. Let me see which slides I'm gonna cover next. Give me 1 second. Well, I'm glad y'all find it interesting. Let's see. What I'm doing here, what I'm doing here now is just an overview. When you take the course, we get deeper into the discussion, and we take it to more levels. And it gets like really deep. really deep. You know, I wish there were more people watching. I mean, man, shoot. Well, at least I'm not talking to myself. You know, so I'm not talking to myself. It's a lot to cover. There's a whole lot to cover. I mean, there's a lot. Trust me when I say there's a lot. And this is just one of the slides. This is 101 slides that we're looking at right now, and we're not even halfway through. And there's other slides for the course too. There's other slide presentations for the course too, as well. And this is just one of them. So anyway, okay, I'll share now. Somebody had a question about Moors. So, like I say, this is more about the mound structure and not so much about the mound builders. But, you know, because some people are interested, you know, and Firebird kind of opened up Pandora's box when she started talking about the giants and all that. So I can't just leave it there because it's more than just giants, you know, because they want to make it seem like, you know, it's just these people that were mysterious and disappeared and vanished. And, you know, it's easy to give credit to a people that you say, you know, have vanished and are no longer around and stuff like that. Okay. But when I really bring it home and talk about how they found Moors in the mound, okay, they found people with high melanation in the mound, okay, all of a sudden they get silent. Okay. And like I said, I didn't want to open up that box, but the box was opened. So once you open the box, once you open Pandora's box, you can't close it. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to share the screen again and show some more slides. And 1 second here. Let me move this over. Okay. And share screen. Window, share. Okay, so we're talking about Moors. So now we're going to take a look inside. Like I said, I didn't want to do that in this discussion, but somebody opened up the discussion. And we will, in fact, talk about, okay, so it says here, a look at Moorish Muslims, their architecture, and influences in Indian country. Okay, that's the name of this particular article. So it says here, defined moral, and after this, I'm gonna close it out because it is getting late, and I have to make food for my wife. Okay, and anyway, it says defined and moral indignity expressed by the ilk of highly paid, well-placed public provocateurs over the installation of a mosque at the 9/11 ground zero site. Again, we're not talking about religion here. I'm reading an article. It has a lot of, it has religious stuff in it, but looking at the artifact information. So you don't have to get into all of that, religious stuff or whatever, ground zero site tends to confound researchers like me. Mosques, at least to my mind, are a grand testament to the ultimate in Moorish Muslim architecture. Beyond that, it is an apt reminder of the great body of Muslim Moorish influences once pre existing in the hemispheric Aboriginal Indian country of the places we now know to be the Americas. I must admit to wondering what had gotten the Catholic majesties in such a twisted bunch that it created an absolute blind rage and hatred of the Saracens that they would dare to chase them into the realm of unknown lands and apparently past the sheer edge of the square world, a belief in vogue in their era. Blah, 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 blah. Let me skip down a little bit. It says, what's more, the Catholic majesties, with the blessing of His Papal Highness and the Holy See, ceded the fate of the Saracens and their descendants to a condition of authorized perpetual slavery forever, with a vow to vanquish their kingdoms, duchies, counties, principalities, etc., whatever they wherever they exist, and promptly set their sights on the takeover of the Americas. Give me 1 second. Scroll up. So it is the Pope and the Catholic majesties themselves that gave us our first clue to the location of the extended kingdoms of the Saracens as they descend upon the Americas with their armada bearing men of the cloth, sacristy, sacristy, conversion kits, and expedition of heavily armed conquistadors at the ready to kill all Saracens resistant to the forceful conversion to Christianity. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. The dumb diverses granted Hernando de Soto and others apostolic authority on behalf of the kings of Spain and Portugal. We grant you by these present documents with our apostolic authority, full and free permission to invade, search out, capture, and subjugate the Saracens and pagans and any other unbelievers and enemies of Christ, wherever they may be, as well as their kingdoms, duchies, counties, principalities, and other property, and to reduce their persons into perpetual slavery. Anyway, Hernando de Soto and others did come here into the interior Indian country of the extended kingdom of Saracens and left numerous descriptions of his travails and very surprising narratives describing Indian settlements with Moorish architecture, use of Moorish mats, Moorish darts, and Moorish cloaks. He also wrote extensively about Indian chiefs wearing almazars like Moors, and later Trail of Tears description of Black Indians recalled the Negro Indians on horseback wearing almazars, Moorish wraps, giving them an Arab deportment. In Carolina, we found evidence of numerous Indian settlements into plantations. The name of one was Saracens. The Aboriginal name of the Indian settlement was Saracens at the point of contact with the Lord's proprietors. Even in the place, even if the place was named by whites as claimed by Euro history, it is telling with their it is telling in either case that the black Indian, and these are the words of the author, not my words. The black, talking about black in those colorable terms, that the black Indian inhabitants prior to colonial settlement were decreed Saracens. Further removing doubt, ethnologists refer to the Aborigines as Ishmaelites, seafaring Moorish mariners of Aboriginal country. Seafaring ancient Moroccans, Tunisians, Algerians, Turks, and Canary Islanders were marine travelers to the Americas. Their ventures actually started hundreds of years earlier by Moorish, Carthaginian, and Phoenician ancestors. U.S. ethnologist and first director of the Smithsonian Institution, J.W. Powell, documented in his early 1800s report an unusual find in Queen Wheatamores, Rhode Island province. Queen who? Wheater who? Wheater Moore. Queen Wheatamores, Rhode Island province. A burial mound containing what he described as an ancient native in Carthaginian armor. Ooh. In Carthaginian armor. In the mound. We're talking about what was found in the mound. Okay. A very detailed description of both native and the armor was filed in the report, which included leather straps consistent with maronquinery or leatherware. Due to the complex early maritime claims upon the waterways, the 18th century found Americans already functioning under working international treaties with Morocco, Algiers, Tunisia, and Tripoli. George Washington and President Thomas Jefferson maintained the Barbary States treaties, maritime treaties, with the same Moorish countries. The status of the treaties was reported in each presidential State of the Union address until 1830, which coincidentally overlaps with the removal of the Indians from their native settlements to areas west of the Mississippi, along with their black tribal citizens and free persons of color, whom, as we are reminded, were neither considered slaves nor subjects to U.S. or state or Negro laws, as confirmed by the South Carolina League in 1790. However, the forced Indian removals, along with their ethnic black tribal citizens and free persons of color, resulted in cut off communications between maritime nations and citizens situated in sovereign colonies and black Indian settlements. Historic Moorish Muslim influences in the Aboriginal Indian country. The name Moors has always referred to several historic and modern populations of Berbers, Black Africans, and Africans of Arab descent from North Africa, Muslim Iberians, and West Africans from Mali and Niger who had been absorbed into the Almoravid dynasty, some of whom came to conquer and occupy the Iberian Peninsula for nearly 800 years. At that time, they were Muslims or followers of Islam, although earlier people had followed other religions. They called the territory Al Andalus, comprising of what is now Spain and Portugal. Okay, so now, again and again, this is the author writing on their particular knowledge of the Moors. It's to be tweaked a little bit, but there's a lot of information, a lot of good information in here. So continuing on, Almoravid dynasty. The Almoravids were a Berber Muslim dynasty that ruled Morocco and Muslim Spain. And the reason why I say it has to be tweaked a little bit because it's talking a lot about here the Moors over in the east. Later on, I'm going to show you the indigenous Moors that were here. However, but he gets into some of that here as well. He or she, it could be a she writing this. So the Almoravids were a Berber Muslim dynasty that ruled Morocco and Muslim Spain in the 11th and 12th centuries. They may have originated in what is now Mauritania. And as we go along, if you take the course, I'm going to show you where we over in the Americas actually went over to those lands and colonized. Okay, another subject for another time. Okay, again, if you take the course, we get deeper into that. Okay, because it's that's a whole discussion in and of itself. Okay, so continuing on, they may have originated what is now Mauritania. Their founder was Abd Allah ibn Yassin, who by military force converted a number of Saharan tribes to his own reformed religion and then advanced on Morocco. After his death in 1059, Yusuf ibn Tashfin and his brother Abu Bakr came to power. Marrakesh was founded 1062 and was the center of power. And was the center of a power empire called by the Moors in Spain to help them. Called by the Moors in Spain to help stem Christian conquest. Yusuf entered Andalusia and defeated Alfonso VI of Castile. He later subdued the local Muslim rulers and governed Muslim Spain in northern Morocco. Abu Bakr ruled over southern Morocco. The dynasty also pushed south, destroying the ancient state of Ghana. In the 12th century, they were attacked by the Almohads, who finally, by 1174, won both Morocco and Muslim Spain. The Moors' rule stretched at times as far as modern-day Mauritania, West African countries, and the Senegal River. Parts of Mauritania covered northern portions of modern Morocco and much of northwestern and central Algeria during the classical period. The people of the region were noted in classical literature as the Mari. The term Mari or variations was later used by European traders and explorers in the 16th to 18th centuries to designate ethnic Berber and Arab groups speaking the Hassaniya Arabic dialect. In modern Iberia, the term is applied to people of Moroccan ethnicity. The root of the word appears as Moro, M-O-U-R-O, Moro, M-O-R-O, Mor, M-O-I-R, Mor, M-O-R, and M-A-U-R. The root has taken on a variety of meanings, including moreno from Latin. It can also mean black person or mulatto. Mor can have a broader meaning applied to both Moros and Moriscos of Granada. Early ethnologists called Islamic blacks in the Americas Mohammedans, Guanches from the Canary Islands. Blacks in the Americas, Mohammedans. Guanches from the Canary Islands were descended from Berbers, and anthropologists confirm finding ancient markings from inhabitants in the Canary Islands bearing the letters Z-A-N-A-T-A, a direct reference to Berbers of Moorish origin. What's more, colonies of these Canarians were also found among tribes of pre-colonial and colonial era Carolina in what is now the Americas. Saracens. Saracens refers to Muslim Moors. In fact, the name figures prominently in the ancient biblical story of Isaac and Ishmael, the sons of Abraham. The children of Abraham and his Jewish wife Sarah are descended from Isaac. Further, the children of Abraham and Hagar, the Egyptian slave, were descended from Ishmael and are empty of or without a genetic DNA contribution from Sarah. Therefore, the Muslim descendants of Ishmael are those empty of Sarah or without Sarah, born outside of Sarah, and were referred to as Saracens. Some texts refer to them as Hagaranis. Despite Egyptian ancestry, this population are considered to be Arabs. It seems that since they were born of a slave, their names decided that descendants of Ishmael should be perpetual slaves throughout every generation and whatever and wherever, they lived, even after removing to faraway lands, although they were blessed by God to be a mighty nation, children of the desert, proficient with a bow. Sound familiar? Remembering an Aboriginal Moorish Indian queen. The next story centers upon the ancient settlement of a black Indian queen killed by beheading in 1674 as a preemptive act of aggression and example to others by the militarized settlers of Natick, Massachusetts in the opening salvo of King Philip's War. Although Queen Wheatamore, although Queen Wheatamore although Queen Wheatamore's ancient burial mounds were in existence at contact, the Great Mound treasure was not discovered until later. Her story appears out of sequence due to its strategic geographical situation as an Atlantic settlement of Indian Moors. Moors dominate the Atlantic Hassanamisco, Queen Wheatamore's settlement. Okay, y'all with me? Queen Wheatamore's county was Aquantineck, the Aboriginal name for Rhode Island. She was ruler of Atlantic coastal Black Indian tribes and a kinsman of Massasoit and King Philip of the Narragansett and Wampanoag nations. The queen was Squaw Sachem of Pecusset at Fall River, extent territory to Massachusetts. Wheatamore was also related to Tuspaquin, known as the Black Sachem or Black Chief. There were Indian groups that welcomed the first pilgrims in the Americas upon the word of Tisquantum or Squanto. Hassani Morisco, Moroccan Muslim Moors, Wheatamor's people. Wheatamor's tribal town called Hassanamisco was a compound word which seems to have contained two important elements specific to Morocco. The first being a similarity to the name derived from the spoken language of Morocco known as Hassania. The second element being the word Morisco, the name given to indigenous Moors in ancient times, converted forcefully by the Spanish to Christianity. Alternate names are Hassania and Hassani. The classification is Afro-Asiatic, Semitic, Central, South, and Arabic. The alternate Hassani plus Morisco would produce Hassani Morisco, literally meaning Hassani speaking Moroccan Muslim Moors. In short, they were a special group of Saracens escaping conversion and established colonies in the Aboriginal Indian country. Queen Weedamore's chosen colony name gives clues as to the era of their escape and settlement, 11th or 12th century. They were subjects of the kings of Morocco. Further, their tribal families would also settle Carolina and the interior. Moors of Carolina. Besides Hassani Misco, large Moorish native communities are known to have existed in Delaware. A city known as Cheswold, Delaware was composed of Moorish natives with known connections to the Lenni Lenape and Nanticoke nations of Delmarva. Extensive Moorish colonies, Indian Moor communities, and Creole settlements, among many other tribal nations, existed in North and South Carolina, including Turks, Guanches, and other aliases captured by many Indian census reports. Treaties and historical documents, particularly among the nations of the five civilized tribes. These nearly indescribable persons were subsequently categorized as free persons of color, free blacks, mulattoes, and Negro among the tribes. Moors as guides in the Aboriginal Indian country, Hernando De Soto in ancient Carolina. Hernando De Soto made several very curious remarks during his travels. He lamented in one discussion about his Moors being the ancestors of the Indians. The other observation being that after the loss of Moors from his expedition, De Soto, De Soto's team seems to have become vulnerable, unstable, and directionally confused. Hernando de Soto also recorded numerous items in ancient Carolina and Alabama bearing Moorish influences, such as those documented in their original narratives, confirmed by a scholarly recounting in De Soto's chronicles. The expedition of Hernando de Soto to North America in 1539 to 1543 by Lawrence A. Clayton, Vernon James Knight Jr., and Edward C. Moore, editors, pages, blah, blah, blah. We have to get into all those are the references. So it says the army leave Cofarachiki in two divisions. Besides these kinds of arrowheads made of copper, such as those they put on darts in Spain, there were others with harpoons, also made of copper, and in the form of small chisels, lances, and Moorish darts, which looked as if they had been made in Castilla. Okay. A fourth person left with the tribe at Coosa Creek Nation was a Negro named Robles. Indian Moor colonies, ancient Carolina Moorish Muslim settlements. 1526, Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon expedition. In 1526, an expedition led by Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon founded San Miguel de Guadalupe on the coast at Winya Bay. San Miguel de Guadalupe is a modern day Georgetown County, South Carolina. Is modern day Georgetown County, South Carolina. The Santee River flows through there. The North and South Carolina of the river can also be found in this county. Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon's Spanish Moor colony is referenced as a failed colony in European history recounts because it did not result in an American pilgrim county. Rather, de Ayllon's colony evolved as an integrated Native American Moor colony. History. It is noted that in the 1520s, the Chicora met Spanish explorer Ayllon near Pawleys Island. Tribal members were spread out in Clarendon, Florence, Georgetown, Horry, Marion, and Williamsburg counties. In 1743, the colonial government forced nearly all the remaining Indians to move to the Catawba community. Tribal leaders met at Cheratown. In light of the colonial government's attempt to concentrate area natives into the vicinity and an amalgamation, Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon's Spanish Moors, the Winya, Pidi, Wakama, Santee, Chicora, and Catawba was therefore created. U.S. Geological Survey records. Okay, these are references here. 1566, Pedro Menendez de Avila's expedition. In 1566, another Spaniard under Pedro Menendez de Avilas founded a settlement in South Carolina comprised of some 800 Spaniards and their families, including Spanish Moors. He named the settlement Santa Elena. Melendez de Avila's nephew, noted to have been a Mandingo, settled St. Augustine, Florida. Muslim Moorish influences in Carolina. South Carolina Historical Society records in the Carologue Spring 1993 edition carried a story entitled Muslim Slaves Abducted Moors, African Jews, Misnamed Turks, and an Asiatic Greek Lady. Some examples of non-European diversity in South Carolina prior to 1861 by James W. Hagee. The South Carolina Historical Society also kept documentation of the free Moors of South Carolina, which was recorded in the Journal of the South Carolina House of Representatives. Official documentation confirming habitation of free Moors in South Carolina. South Carolina had significant ethnic diversity during colonial times. It was home to free Moors and Turks. While fighting in defense of their country, the Moors were captured with their wives by a king of Africa. They were claimed by a Captain Clark, who was to deliver them to an ambassador of Morocco then living in England, to return them to their own country. Instead, he brought them to America, where he sold them into slavery. They petitioned the South Carolina legislature, and the petition stated that as free born subjects of a prince now in alliance with these United States, that they may not be considered as subject to laws of this state now in force, called the Negro Law. They were freed by the South Carolina legislature. Report that they have considered the same and are of the opinion that no law of the state can, in its constitution or operation, apply to them, and that persons who were subjects of the Emperor of Morocco, being free in this state, were not triable by the law for the better ordering and government, and governing of Negroes and other slaves. They have the, if you look here, they have all of the records that you can look this stuff up here. Okay. It says Ophir of Solomon, intriguing landmarks, Indian settlements, and repurposed plantations in South Carolina. Ophir Plantation locate along the Santee St. John's Parish, Berkeley County in present-day Pen- Penopolis. Earliest documented date of existence, 1685. A house was erected on the site in 1810. The site currently lies submerged under Lake Moultrie. Plantation lands were originally located near present-day Penopolis. Ophir is yet another casualty of the Santee Cooper Hydroelectric and Navigation Project. This project displaced many families and communities, including historic homes, Indian mounds, burial places, cemeteries, and archaeological opportunities were lost as the area was flooded. Despite the fact that Thomas Porcher remained despite the fact that Thomas Porcher maintained Native American slaves here from the point of initial contact, along with the presence and predominance of Indian burial mounds, the Ophir graveyard was classified as black. Okay, and you look here, it gives some locations and names. Okay. Ophir Plantation, Chicora map, Ophir Canal, gives the coordinates and all that. Um, Note all three instances of use of the word appears in the Aboriginal country. All were associated purely with Indian nations. Two Cherokee settlements in North and South Carolina, as well as one of Northern Carolina settlements. Ophir Indian Mounds, Indian. Ophir Plantation Cemetery, black. Ophir Plantation um, citation, Ophir Plantation Manuscripts Department, Library of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, Southern Historical Collection, blah, blah, blah. And it gives you where you can look this stuff up. Um, some good information if you want to do research. Okay. And you can pause the video and, you can look this stuff up for references. Okay. Those are references. So it says here, scrolling down, Moorish Muslim Mexico, Pacific states, and the American Southwest. Further west, when the Padres began bringing black Mexican aboriginals to settle the missions, they brought with them Indios, Coyotes, Mulattoes, black Mexicans, and Moriscos with names like Amezquita, meaning to mosque, to settle the Carolina missions from Baja, San Diego, San Luis Rey near Oceanside, San Juan Capistrano, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, San Buenaventura, San Luis Obispo, Santa Margarita, San Miguel, San Jose, Sonoma, Santa Clara, Solano, as well as San Francisco in Alta California. As the Padres set up the mission systems from Laredo, Baja to San Francisco and even into Arizona, they documented the various descriptions and racial classifications of these settlers, which were at the outset Indios, Coyotes, Coyote, Negro, Quebrato, broken black color, mulatto, even Chino, black with Asian features, Mesquita, Mestizo, people descended from mixed black ancestors, for instance, Olmec, Mixtec, etc., and Espanol. Even though the settling of the missions reports a pivotal period of early Spanish Mexican settlement of the Pacific West, we were no less awed by the fact that the most ancient prehistoric remains of an even earlier population of black aboriginals has been confirmed by modern forensic archaeological studies. Mexico, Tenochtitlan is the original name of Mexico. It was founded in 1325 on an islet in the western part of Lake Texcoco de Mora, which translates literally to our Coco, people of Moors. Mazatlan de los Mulattos, it seems, was literally the birthplace of the mulattoes. The Olmec mated with the Coyal or Coyacan and produced a generation called Coyotes. The Coyotes figured prominently in the settler class of immigrating with the Padres in an effort to establish settlements in their North American holdings, which were needed to fend off Russian encroachment of the Pacific West. It is clear that the Coyotes had some type of African ancestry. In the old text, and again, these are not my words, I'm reading the text word for word. I would have to do deeper research to validate that African ancestry. Um, in the old text, the wild tribes of Mexico, physical features in northern Mexico, page 619. The Tlacotecs in 1568 wore cotton cloth mantles painted in various fine colors. The inhabitants of Cholula, according to Cortez, dressed better than the Tlaxcaltecs, the better class wearing over their clothes a garment resembling the Moorish cloak, yet somewhat different as that of the Cholula. In the same book, under dress in, I'm sorry, in the same book under dress in the Michoacan, page 622 to 23, the following description of a turban appears. On the head, a small red cloth arranged like a turban, from which are pendant scarlet feathers similar to those used by ancient Aztec warriors. Esteban the Moor discovered New Mexico. 1536. The most famous Moor in the hemisphere proper was Esteban de Dorantes, a black Arab, a native of Azamor, Morocco, a survivor of the Navarrete expedition to La Florida, who discovered what was New Spain and is now southern New Mexico. He returned to Culiacan, Mexico, with stories of having seen the seven cities of Cibola, or the seven cities of gold. See, y'all thought that was just fables, but it wasn't a fable. Okay, we had more gold here than they had anywhere. Okay, just for your information. We get deeper into that when you take the course. He was an Eslavo Indio of Andres Dorantes of Bejar del Castanar, Salamanca. Eslavo Ladino means a slave and converted Christian. Esteban, as he was now known, accompanied Dorantes. King Charles V of Spain, who was of high melanation, by the way, granted him authority to settle all of La Florida, a territory that stretched from the southern tip of the Florida Peninsula westward to the Rio de las Palmas, which is today Soto de la Marina River in the state of Tampu, in the state of Tama, Tamaulipas, Mexico. Estebanico began his ascent into the Aboriginal Indian country as one of only four survivors of the 600 members of Navarrez, the Navarrez expedition in 1527 to 1528 to colonize Florida. Esteban's survival and the expedition and subsequent discovery of New Mexico is nothing short of miraculous and should be shouted from the rooftops and shared by other Moors. According to Cabeza de Vaca, we enjoyed a great deal of authority and dignity among the Indians, and to maintain this, we spoke very little to them. The black the black man has always spoke to them, asserting which way to go and all the other things we wanted to know. Note: Black Arab Native Azamor by, okay, that's the reference. You can pause the video and get that reference. I'm gonna read on. In 1539, Estebanico's purpose during his mission was to lead de Niza from the island of Malhado near the Bay of Galveston to Sabola. Their personalities clashed, and Deniza did not relish the freedom the Moor felt in the Aboriginal Indian country, nor the pleasant deception he received from nor the pleasant reception he received from the Indians. Esteban rode ahead of the Spaniard and disappears within the confines of the Zuni Pueblo. Deniza does not reach Zuni, but is met by Indians who notify him of the death of Esteban. European history accounts contend that the New Mexico Indians killed Esteban for various reasons, although his death was never observed. Even those reporting it merely speculated that he had been killed, and that is what they told the Spaniards. Did Esteban the Moor slip away, as did De Soto's Moors? Okay, and a lot of times that's what happened. They said, hey, forget y'all, and they, escaped and, left them. Okay. Coincidentally, but apparently unrelated to Esteban the Moor, killed in their pueblo, according to European his story, there is an actual Cibola County, not a rumor. The Acoma Pueblo is officially San Esteban del Rey de Acoma, literally Saint Stephen, the king of Acoma. They too have an El Moro National Monument, the Moor National Monument, and participate in an ancient annual fest honoring San Esteban. Numerous structures, including missions of Moorish architecture, were described, painted, and ultimately photographed as a testament to their style, influence, and rightful place in this hemisphere, bearing colonies, settlements, and communities inhabited by the subjects of the kings of Morocco in this hemisphere. To banish this type of architectural style is an arrogant insult to their memory, as well as the remnant of their host nations. Okay. And yeah, so I just wanted to drop that little piece of information, um, mainly to talk about the Moors, um, to introduce the discussion of Moors found in the mounds, as we spoke of at the beginning or in the middle of this reading here. Uh, there's a lot more of that when you take the course. I show you a lot more where they found Moors in the mounds, um, and things of that nature. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, it's getting late. Man, we got some people still watching. Am I boring y'all, or are y'all still with me? I could go on, but I know people got things to do. I still gotta cook for my wife. I got a whole lot more. There's a lot more where this came from. More science of the mounds, a whole lot more. Like I said, it gets deeper. It gets deeper. See, that right there was a discussion of touching on stuff found in the mounds, but that's a whole nother slide presentation. But I introduced it into this discussion because it always comes up. So, I like to leave little cliffhangers, when I do these type of lectures to spark your interest for the next topic, But again, Awanasa asks, let's see here. 1 second. Awanasa asks, is there a magnetic rock or crystals in the Bermuda Triangle? Yes. Yes, indeed. And that's another discussion for another time. I get deep into that in the course. And yes, there's pyramids down there. There's sphinxes down there. Okay. That's a whole nother discussion for another time. It gets deep. It gets really deep. Okay. There's stuff down there that you don't hardly hear anybody talking about. I got all that information. I talk about it in the course. Yeah. As well as, talking about that whole science of the Bermuda Triangle and the Devil's Triangle in the Pacific and stuff like that. Okay. Those are major grid points, but, there's many of them, okay, all over the world. Okay. Minor grid points, Like I say, there's levels to this stuff. I'm just really giving y'all a little bit right now. Okay, so another question. How tall is the giant, and are there many giants? Good question. Yeah, they report of 7-foot tall giants. I've heard of 9-foot, things of that nature. And they found these all over the world, not just here in the Americas. Yeah. So who all still with me? Yeah. I don't want to bore you all. But yeah, I think y'all have had enough. I don't want to overdo it, Like I say, there's a lot, I go on for about another 3 hours at least, just going on. That's how much information it is. But I'm gonna save for the course. There's a lot of good stuff in here that I would like to share, but I think I'm going to leave it there. And I thank you all for joining in. I know it's Friday. I know a lot of y'all have other things that you want to do on a Friday. And I think I should go and start helping my wife cook this food. She's waiting on me to cook. So, anyway, I thank y'all for joining. I hope that the discussion was interesting. Like I say, I don't want to bore anyone, you know. I don't want to bore anyone. But I left the email for those who are interested in the course. Again, you know, it goes much deeper. I could go on, but I think y'all are falling asleep. You know, I could continue the discussion, but I don't want to bore y'all. You know, I think y'all are sleeping now. So anyway, I'm going to sign off now. And until the next time, do da da, go ha e. Oh, and thank you for all those who did join in. Let me, before I do that, we have some other people who came in too. Let me make sure I give thanks to, let's see here. Okay, Love Life, we already shouted out Love Life. Thanks for joining in, Love Life. Let's see. AP, JR, Celestial, Monique. Thanks for joining in. George Richard III. Thanks for joining in. Of course, Awanasa. I'll be talking to you soon, cuz I had been off the scene for the reason that I spoke of in the beginning of the discussion. Anyway, thank you all again. And until the next time, I'm going to sign out saying, Do da da, ga ha e.